Hi, this is Scott. Welcome back to another Hollinger Team video blog. The question for this video is, when is it going to end? It's the question that gets asked in up markets and down markets and things like that when people want to know when the market's going to shift. Is it a bubble, etc. And it got me thinking back to during the recession we had two things. One was we had a reduction certainly in building starts because people weren't buying homes, and we also had a reduction in the workforce. And there was a couple other factors a couple other things that happened during that time period I'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, we started creating some pent-up demand for housing because the United States creates about 500,000 households a year, new families, people getting married and having children, or just graduating from college and getting out into the world and needing a home. So about 500,000 a year. And going back to 1959, the Census Bureau started keeping track of housing starts on an annual basis, and they've tracked it ever since. So for the first 48 years, they averaged, or the housing average was about 1,100,000 housing starts every year until we hit 2006, and then it all kind of changed. In fact, in 2005, right before that, there was 1,700,000 homes started that year, and then the recession hit. So that brought everything really to very much of a slow pace. After the average during then the 14 years of the recession, and some people say the recession didn't last that long, but frankly, in 2011, there were only 430,000 homes started that year. So it well past what would have been, some would have called the end of the recession. But that plays back again to the loss of the workforce that was really decimated during the recession. Anyhow, during those 14 years of the recession, we dropped down to an average of 700,000 home starts. So, about $400,000 or 400,000 homes less than average, and we are still building up, as I spoke of previously, the 500,000 homes or households being created every year. So we've got what turned out to be a housing deficit, or what I call drought, if you want to look at it from the perspective of weather, as a drought of 5.5 million homes less than the average would have created by now. And so the question is, back to, when is this housing shortage going to end? Well, mathematically, you have to kind of say, okay, let's look at the averages and what it would take to get back to average, and then what more would it take above average to start to reduce this 5.5 million home shortage. Well, if we could increase the workforce and the housing starts up to 1.5 million, or a million by 500,000 up to 1,600,000 homes per year, and you reduce that over to how long would it take to absorb or reduce that 5.5 million, we're looking at about 13 years of housing shortage before we would catch back up to where we're building homes at the rate that the need is there. The other thing is, if materials and the workforce and everything just did one of these, what you would call great American comebacks, and we could get up to building 2 million homes a year, we could get this deficit in housing needs down to about 6 years. There's a lot of factors that play into that, the cost of money, interest rates, those kind of things. We're at a great interest rate level, so that helps people buy. But if there's not homes, it's only just there for when they can buy. Other factors like immigration, where if we have a large immigration and that creates even a higher demand. We have government policies that come into play, for example, just regulations on creations of subdivisions and housing areas and housing types. And so there's a lot of factors that come in. But I thought it was kind of interesting to see that we're not, I would say, at least according to this mathematical analysis, we're not at a bubble kind of thing. I think we're at a catch-up kind of a thing, like we're taking how much rainfall do we need to bring this drought to an end, and at that point in time, we're just back to normal. Hope this was interesting, thought-provoking. There's lots of good reading out there about different theories of how long it's going to take until we get back to what we would call less than frantic housing demand. Any other questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and pass this on to your friends.